Hello, this is a third video on the introduction to the radar trainer, and I want to start looking at some of the charts and scenarios and how you change them. And that's done down here where it says load scenario, and so we would and we want to go to one where I'm going to be looking here at one of our quizzes, like quiz number, might be even quiz 1 in the radar course, and it's going to tell us it wants to look at the Plymouth Sound in the UK, to look at that chart. And so let's just take a look at that. And so you load the charts down here, and let's just see Plymouth Sound. These are navigation problems. Plymouth Sound, UK. And then, okay, so there's a discussion. Oh, and then not much discussion on that one, it just says Plymouth Sound. And so you load it. So that's loaded that, and now that will be the radar target we see over here. And let's see, let me just see what it says here. For the problems 11 to 15, load. After it loads, immediately slow your vessel to 0 knots. In other words, this is a quiz problem that wants you to practice measuring some distances, but it wants everybody to be at the same place on the chart when you measure the distances. So it says you load it and then just immediately stop the boat. So I'm going to load it again, and then you just say minus, 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 and so I'm going 0. See my speed now, 4.5, now 0. So I'm sitting here, and presumably that's where they want me to be. And there's the radar. Now that's a big range. Let me come down on the range a little bit. Okay, yeah. So see, now we got this kind of range. We're just out to the end of that breakwater. I mean, halfway across this breakwater. Now, the other thing, okay, so that's how you change them. And then there's different ones. You know, you can go in here, Sook Inlet. Does it have any discussion? Sook Inlet, this is in Canada, popular, okay, that's a popular cruising place. But anyway, we're at this one. Now, what we're going to want to do throughout the course is compare, we want to be looking at a chart of this same area. So you then go down to charts, this down here, and click charts. Now, what that does, it opens up the help file. That's just if you want to get there. Otherwise, you would just go to up here into help, and then help topics, and then charts in RT3, and then I think here regions used, and you're here. And this page that you're here, you get to just by pushing this button here. And so then this is the default, and these are the different ones that you can use. Training chart of the UK, Plymouth Sound, this one, okay. And so you click here, you don't see anything, but this is the link here. And now this will depend a little bit about how your Windows 10 or when program is set up. You could click this, and it could actually open this up in Adobe Reader outside of this this help file here, or it might open it up right within this help file. It doesn't matter to us because you can print it from here just as well. And then you can also zoom it and look at it here like that. And so this is that chart, and then there's a scale. And then what we find in the course is what we're going to do is we can't use latitude and longitude. And there's just technical reasons why that doesn't work out in the simulator very well. But we're going to deal with all positions on this chart. If we want to say what's the position of this light here, we're going to say range and bearing relative to the center of the chart. Now and you would print this out. Just hit your printer here and print it out, and then you have a printout of that chart, and then you're going to use it like a regular chart then. With here's the scale, and here's a true compass rose. But I'm going to do these demos here. I'm going to use I'm on a Macintosh. Well, wait a minute. It's obviously a PC because it's only a PC program. But I'm running the PC Windows program as a virtual machine in a Mac. And what I'm using now is a pretty nice Mac app called Pixel Stick. And so I'm just going to set it here and here. It's just as if I had a projector overhead and I'm using parallel rulers and dividers and things like that, except I'm not. I'm sitting here in my house looking at this computer screen right now. I'm not even at work. Okay, COVID. Okay, so that's 5. Okay, so what I have to do is calibrate that. So I would just go to Edit, and I would just set that to 5.00. So now I have a ruler that's calibrated here. For example, I could bring this down here and set it something like right here, and I'm reading. Why am I not reading anything? Oh, 2.14. What? Oh, okay, here it is, 2.18. Oh, okay. So that right there should ought to be like 1.8, 2.2. Okay, I got to change. I didn't set up something right. Sorry. Let me come back here. That should be 5.0. What's going on here? 5.0. Enter. Okay. Now I have it calibrated. So now if I just put it, somewhere here, like, what's this? That's 2.3, and that's 2.3. Okay. So now I have a tool, and I could go up then and, measure things on this chart. But let's say you wanted to know the answer to this right here. Let's say you did a problem and your answer happened to be right here where this little buoy is. Now the answer that you would tell us is 0. You see here, this distance from here to here, you would put your dividers on here and measure, put your dividers on. You're going to get fixes out here, radar fixes. And once you get a radar fix with an intersection of some either bearing and range or 2 range rings or something, you're going to get a fix. And then once you have that fix, you want to tell your answer as the range and bearing from this center point. And in this case, the answer would be, this is 0.51 miles in direction of 223, and so forth. So that's how you would use this chart, just like a regular chart, using a parallel rulers and dividers, like that. So let me get rid of that now. Quit. Okay. So let's look now. Let me just see what the thing is. So we pulled in there and we stopped when we were supposed to. Now for each of these problems, adjust the radar range as needed. Okay, so we want to get the best view. And in fact, we're going to switch over to this one here because we're going to have a lot better resolution and so forth here. So it says, what is the range to the nearest end of the breakwater? And so that would be the range to this point right here from where we are locked in here. And you would just turn on a variable range marker and zoom out, and there's your answer. Should be whatever that is, like I get 0.36, but anyway, whatever that is. So that's the way you go through these. What is the other? What is a true bearing to the center of the nearest end of the breakwater? The center of the nearest end. So presumably that would be, let me turn that off and turn this on, and that would presumably be this bearing. Now we got to talk navigation here. What kind of bearing did that ask for? What is the true bearing? What is the true bearing to the center of the nearest breakwater? Well, we're in a head-up mode here. Oh, no, it's north-up mode. How did I get north-up? I don't know. Must have been in north-up. Obviously, you want to switch to north-up. North-up mode. North-up. EBL 330R. Okay. Oh, yeah. And somehow this bearing was turned. See, there was an R on here. You see, there was an R on here, relative. We don't want that. We're in north up, so everything's really true bearings. I mean, this is north, the top of the picture. I think I've closed the picture of the radar. Did I? I guess I did. Yeah, I've closed, I've closed the picture of the chart. So there's the overall view. Now and so they just want, and we're parked down here somewhere, and we look to the bearing up to this point up here. That's what's going on there. And it asks for the true bearing, and then, oh, I see, this is within the radar trainer itself, so it's not going to really go away. And that's going to be, I get 79, something like that. And then it just goes on, and there's other questions. What is the range to this? What is the length of the breakwater? Now here's an interesting one. What's the length of the whole breakwater? When it asks for the length of the whole breakwater, I would come back to this guy, right? Oh, it just went away again. Okay, so you're printing it, right? I'm chasing this thing around the page here, but you wouldn't be, because you'd be printed this thing out. And so you just put your dividers from here to here and bring them down here and measure this thing. That's the length of that. I would take that you take that way. That's not, and so forth. So there's how you do that. There are two lights. That's two. Okay, let's just discuss this a little more. What is the range to the closest edge? There are two lights south of the breakwater about on your beam. Let's see that. There are two lights south of the breakwater. Let's just look at the chart to see what they're talking about, right? Two lights south of the breakwater about on our beam. So we must be stopped about here, and they're there. Okay. Now, so what's going over here? I don't see any, but they may be farther. Okay, let's look at this again. Bring up the chart. Oh, this is irritating. I should have printed this out. Print the PDF of this out and then showed it to you. But these lights are down here somewhere, so I've got to go out on a farther range. Now do I see them? I don't see them yet. What's the question here? There are two lights. Switch to the radar view and reduce the range till you can see the closest one. What is the range? Now I don't see it immediately. Reduce the range. Sometimes it's a faint light. You won't. Let me reduce the range again. There it is. So this is a kind of a weak target that didn't show up till I got to a lower range. Okay, so there's the answer to that, whatever that is. Okay, and so that's how you interact with those targets, and then when coming, the first thing you do. Okay, and so that's the type of exercise it asks you to do with the chart in that lesson 1. And I'm going to stop there on this one.